So this is a great little device. If you ever want to hang a TV on the wall, but you have no studs behind it, i.e. it's a dot and dab plasterboard, or you just haven't got a stud finder, then this is what you need. So everything you're going to need is all in this little box we've just opened. Now if you notice, it's got all little tiny small holes along the top, and that would fit flush against the wall. These would connect onto the back of your TV and hook onto there. These are spacers, if you needed them, where you place them towards the bottom of the TV. So as it's hung on the wall, these are further down to stop the TV rocking back and forth. And going back to no screws needed, in everything you get in here, you'll see a load of little nails. Yep, just normal brad nails, about 2.5 centimeters long. And every one of them is important, because the weight of your TV is going to be shared between every one of them nails. So for every nail hole you see in the back of here, and let's just say your TV was 2 kilogram, that 2 kilogram was going to be shared with all these holes. So the support of the TV is going to be shared through all them nail holes which are going into your wall. So I'm going to hang it on the wall just to the right of me and show you how it's going to work. So my TV, this one is a 32-inch Sony Brava, was initially held with a typical style TV wall bracket. But that bracket, the typical wall bracket, will not fit on this wall, because this wall is just completely hollow. You can hear it rocking, but that's just the plasterboard, and behind it is insulation, and then obviously the side of the brick wall, which is part of this conservatory. So there'll be no studs behind that wall, but blobs of cement and plaster in certain places, and then they offer the drywall up to it until it sticks. Using a spirit level, they get it plumb and leave it sit there to dry. So all I do is remove these, the washers and spacers. Then I'm going to offer up these ×2 into that hole and that hole, which is the top of the TV, but on the back. I'm using the smallest bolt to do this, and this might need a washer yet, so we'll just check. I think that's the wrong size one. So I've swapped this left hand side bolt out for this, because we don't need any rubbers behind. As you can see there, it sits flush, and that way that isn't protruding near to the back of the TV with the risk of damaging it. With it being such a small TV, you would only need probably that much to be biting onto the inner threads to hold the TV in place, because once it's hung on the wall, it's not going anywhere. And once this TV aluminum strip goes up, and that's fastened to the wall via these nail holes, that's the shape of it. Let's just call it a J bracket. It would be that there would be to the back of the wall, and it would sit like that. So what we're going to do now is just double check whether we need any spacers here to make that flush, and then there's no rock on it. that's slightly proud than these areas. So let's have a look low down. So just checking with the little spirit level which is included. That's too high. That's flush. There we go. That's almost spot on. It's actually, the bubble is closer to the top, which means the TV will slightly lean forward, giving a better viewing. So all we need now is just, because they're hollow, as you can see, we need the equivalent length in screw just to bite in them holes. And here's the last one, getting tightened up. So we now know that this is nice and flush. If we rest it on there, using the spirit level, it's a little up to the top, but that will mean that the TV will lean that way into the room. So now we're going to offer this up to the wall, find the right distance, and then get it hung nice and plumb. So we know from the top of the TV bracket, which we're going to set this on, to the edge of the TV is 6 inches. So we want the TV to be no higher than that when it comes to offering it up to the area we're going to hang it. So there's my spirit line on the wall, if you can see that in the sun. I do have a green one which is much brighter. So that's 7 1/4 from the top in inches, from the top white beam, which is there, the top of the conservatory. So if I mount it on that line, that gives me just over 1 inch above it. And then knowing that that line is true, because I've just checked both sides of it and the floor's not unlevel, and with it being a laser, it auto levels anyway, that's going to be the best line to go from. So what I need to do now is measure equal amounts either end. So now I've marked the wall up, I can now show you how simple this item is to mark, or to hang should I say. That is my centre line to both parts of the wall. The bracket itself is just over 16 inches, so from there to there is 8 1/4. All I need to do now is pop a nail into there. Or easier, offer this up onto this line, because I know it's plumb. There's my starting point. Knowing that there's nothing behind this brick wall other than, or behind this drywall is only a brick wall, I can now tap that into there with my next nail through them holes, making sure it's plumb. There we go, and I can finish them off in a minute. And on this side, so as you can see, for every nail you place in there, all the weight's going to be hanging on them nails. Not a joist, but the nails itself. This is where the wooden floor wobbles now and the laser level goes all over the place. So there's no drilling. I don't have to do any roll plugs, get the right gauge, hit a stud, hit a brick, hit a pipe. And as easy as they go in, one nail, excuse me, one nail wouldn't support anything other than a picture. But because we've got 20 something nails going in here, and I know drywall isn't the strongest when it comes to something as thin as a nail, the weight is equally spread across them all. So there's a bit of resistance there, so either the nail's too long or I'm hitting some of the plaster. What I'll do is finish this off and show you a close look at it. So as you can see there, I've added all the nails, and just remember, everything has a stress load. When it comes to screws, the more screws you use, the more the weight's distributed through them screws, especially when it comes to stud walls and things like that in house building. And I know no one's building a house here, but although this is hollow drywall, some of it's got plaster behind, some hasn't. There's no joists in this because I've used a stud finder to check, and there's nothing there. This can be painted over if need be. If we ever took this off and then hit it that way, all them nails would release from the drywall, and all you have to do, not in my case because I've hit the wall, but all you have to do is fill them little tiny holes, and you may find that the paint will actually fill them anyway. So that's as safe as houses. It's not going anywhere, and it's sat there snug. And like I keep stressing, for those who think, well, if that's the only thing holding up my TV, which is worth £1,000, just remember the weight is distributed between all the nails. If it was one screw, it would pull away at the drywall and eventually come loose. So I'll show you what a dry fit looks like now. And there we go, that simple. How cool does that look? If we need to move it that way or this way, then it's just a case of quick slide, move it this way. Because we've got them spaces in the bottom, there's no rocking. If we need to lift it off to dust, it's only them which is holding it on. There's the spacers, they're not even tight. All they're acting as stoppers here to stop this thing from rocking. All I need to do now is, a lot easier than hanging a picture frame actually, is pop that on there, double check it's on. There it is. Find the equal distance either side, plug my power cord in, and there you go. So that's how simple it is to hang a TV with one of them. And that's not going anywhere. I think this is probably only about 2 kilo in size, in weight, sorry. It's a Sony Bravo 32-inch TV. This bracket says it will hold anything from a 22 to 55 inch, £100 or 45.3 kilogram. No stud, TV hanger, and you've just seen me from start to finish adding it. I'm going to pop the link in the description. It's not affiliated. I'm not sponsored to make this video and sell the product. And you don't even have to buy this type, but once you click on this link, you'll find all of the versions of what I've just used to hang this TV on the wall there. Not sure how much this cost, but there'll be a good cheap one there to spend your hard-earned cash on. Thank you for watching, guys.